Hey friends, welcome back to Trending. Today is Thursday, February 8th. It's about 9:40 as we're recording. Good morning, Joe.
How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, man. Listen to Florence and the Machine on the way in. I'm hyped.
Nice. Dude, that jam is a great jam. I love Florence and the Machine. We should give people a warning. We're recording video. We've already gotten a warning that our Wi-Fi is a little off this morning, so if our picture lags a little bit, sorry about that. You can just listen. Just pull up another browser, or just if the picture gets messed up, just try to listen. And sorry for the jumpy video today.
It's gonna be Super Max Headroom. Yeah, old reference. So
yes,
you didn't even know what that was first time it came up. Yeah, no idea.
Right. I've had it come up in another meeting recently, and I did look it up after that. So, Joe, it's a big week.
It is,
especially for Chiefs Kingdom.
Oh, Chiefs Kingdom, it's called now.
Yes.
Oh, the new New England Patriots.
Oh, it's been a thing, man. It's been a thing. So we've got another topic to get to. Okay. So we're going to talk about something else today, but just briefly, it is Super Bowl week.
It is.
I'm obviously a Chiefs fan. I'm excited. You said you think the Chiefs are going to pull it off.
I think so. I think their defense is great. 49ers are good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a great game.
I'm hoping. It should be, and I hope so.
But I think that they will win again. Their defense is solid.
Yeah.
They've just kind of pieced up everybody. So
I think we're peaking at just the right time.
Yeah.
And there's all the storylines, right? There's the Taylor Swift stuff. I feel kind of bad for Usher. Don't you? Like, he's performing at half. Usually the halftime performance is like a big buzzy thing, but Swift is totally outshadowing poor Usher. So
do you think there was an outreach to her like camp to like maybe make
would
a
not
cameo?
surprise me.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
But
then there's like Turfgate. Did you hear about that? How like the Chiefs have like the bougie practice facility.
Okay, no.
And the Niners got the UNLV practice field, but there's like turf, like grass over the turf. So it's like it may not even be like safe to play on, but the NFL's like, nah.
That'll be fine.
Stop being snowflakes.
Yeah. Right. Do you have a prediction of your favorite commercial? What do you think is going to be the buzziest commercial this year?
See, I like the sentimental commercials. The funny ones are great.
Yeah.
But I do, because, man, they just, like, there are some that pull the heartstrings things. I'm kind of there for those.
Okay.
So maybe Toyota will come up. They always have a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going for. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know. So Geico, I think, is going to do something with their whole caveman. They're kind of resurrecting the whole caveman bit. So I think there'll probably be several of those, or a couple of them at least. State Farm's going all in on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, man.
They're kind of throwing out that he's going to be their big guy this year. So I don't know. Probably the usual suspects will probably be there.
Yes.
I did see a headline that there's going to be at least a few Jesus commercials. I think The Chosen is going to have some commercials. So the guy who plays Jesus in The Chosen,
okay.
We'll see him show up in a couple ads. So
all right.
We'll see.
Okay, man.
Okay, go Chiefs, go. And we'll see if Taylor can make it there on time from Tokyo.
That's that's the real plot.
Crazy, man. Crazy. Okay, well, let's shift gears. I've got a topic to throw at you. Something else we haven't talked about before, but I think it's a good thing for us to talk about.
Let's do it.
So one of the headlines this morning, one of the trending topics, Disney's in the news. They're always, around these days. But this week they made a new acquisition of a company called Epic. So Epic is the company that makes Fortnite.
Yeah, Epic Games, right?
Yeah, a bunch of other really big video games. So this week Disney invested $1.5 billion into Epic Games, and they're kind of getting into the Fortnite space. So they're from the articles I read this morning, they're trying to do kind of a Disney metaverse type thing within Fortnite.
Okay.
So if you play Fortnite, you can interact with Disney characters, but again, Disney's not just Disney; it's also Marvel and Star Wars, and they own Avatar. So they're trying to put their property into these Fortnite games, creating a Disney metaverse, kind of going all in on that. So there's several things we could talk about, but there's one really interesting quote from Bob Iger, the new old CEO of Disney.
Okay.
He had a quote that I thought was interesting that we could talk about. So he said, when he came back as CEO in 2022, he met with their Experiences video game division, and he said, when I saw Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and even millennials, I saw the amount of time they were spending in terms of total media screen time on video games. Right. It was stunning to me, equal to what they spend on TV and movies. And the conclusion I reached was we have to be there, and we have to be there as soon as we possibly can in every compelling way.
Okay.
So he saw the stats young people are spending a lot of time on video games, and he's like, it'd be foolish for Disney not to have a huge presence there. I had to bring in our friend Kyle.
Yeah.
So we've got our new game system here at Ridgepoint, our gaming center, right?
Yeah.
He's got, if you haven't seen this, he's got a great handout that has a bunch of stats and some of the rationale of why we built our game center. A couple numbers I'll throw out. So in 2016, the video game market was an $18 billion industry. It's interesting here in Wichita this year, according to Kyle, every public high school has an esports competitive team. So we've got basketball, football, volleyball, and esports. Right. There's students from Ridgepoint who are getting esports scholarships to go play video games at school. Yeah. And there was 70% of all Americans play some kind of video game. 75% of all teenagers play video games.
I think it's as early as 1999. More people played video games than went to a movie in a movie theater.
Yeah.
So this is not just a late breaking thing. It wasn't just like a COVID thing, COVID shutdown thing. Like this has been a development for a generation.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Yeah.
And one of the points that Kyle makes is it's getting more and more popular in schools because guys can play against girls, seniors can play against freshmen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the kind of normal breakdowns of different demographics aren't really relevant to video game, to esports. And so we haven't really talked about esports. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about since it's in the news, since Disney's going all in on it.
Yeah.
What are some other kind of cultural things you're noticing as video games continue just to explode?
Yeah, so both my kids play esport games. Ezra's into Rocket League and to Fortnite.
Okay.
And I think video game playing is different today than it was when we played.
Yeah.
With the dawning of the internet and people able to connect, it's been a different thing now. It used to be like the video game things, like kids vegging out in front of a TV for hours.
Yeah.
Shirking responsibility, becoming, bumps on a log or whatever.
Yeah.
Now this is a primary way that people are connecting and building community. I saw this neat video clip of guys who played Call of Duty. They were all abroad. They were all lived in different cities. For years, they played on the same Call of Duty team, and they decided to get together in person, and they hugged each other like brothers. Like it really did bond them together. I know that Ezra plays with kids from youth group, and that's deepened their friendship. He plays with kids from hockey, and that's helped their camaraderie on the hockey team.
Yeah.
And so I do think that those who are leery about video games, their place in our life, there might be some like justification for all that.
Yeah.
But there actually might be a case to be made that this helps like kind of turn down the white noise, the worry of trying to connect to somebody or like the nerves that you get in community.
Yeah.
It turns all that down so that you can actually relate with one another. Just like card playing was in a different era. I mean, insert any activity here to help people get together in the same room. I think video games are the things that are doing that for this current generation.
Yeah.
I never heard about this story about Disney and Fortnite. I think it's going to be interesting because Disney is good because they develop a plot. Even their experiences at their parks. Yeah. You sense like you're in the middle of a story. And stories have like a plot line.
Yeah.
A game like Fortnite, there's not really a plot line. It's open. It's dynamic. You don't follow a script.
Yep.
So I think the question that I would have is, can Disney thrive when a script is not involved? Can they still create the magic without the standard lines?
Yeah.
I think it's yet to be determined.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of here to see like how they might be able to do that. So
yeah, that'd be super interesting. And this was, I guess, more last week than this week, but another big tech story has been the Apple Vision Pro or whatever it's called has come out. Yeah. And I watched several videos, and I think it's been a trend. I think it'll continue to be a trend that I think our culture continues to gamify life.
Yeah.
And so one of the big selling points of the Vision Pro is that you can wear it and like go about your day. You can have this VR set on, and one of the cool selling points is you can work. Like you can work in VR, and you can have like giant screens of your laptop, and you have 8 different windows here, and you can have your calendar here, and you can have a Zoom here, and so I don't know if that's ever going to be an actual thing or not. Yeah. But they're trying. Apple and the other, Meta and all these VR companies are trying to make it to where you're just like a second away from a game at any time. Like you're in the world doing your stuff, and then there's a game. Like so, I'm curious to see if that continues, and as VR and AR stuff continue, I think video games are just going to continue to explode. So, I guess we've kind of hit on this already, but if someone is continues to be kind of hesitant, or they don't really get it, or they think it's weird and maybe irresponsible for us as a church to be involved, do you have any other, what's your pastoral advice for someone who might be kind of just, this is a new world to them? What would you say to that?
I think just the standard lines of everything doesn't have to be your thing or my thing.
Yeah.
We don't have to be having a formed opinion about everything. Like we can choose just to be agnostic about it. I will say though, like what we have seen is people who were maybe initially a bit leery of a video game ministry attached to a church. They also are the ones who say, you know what, though, I think my grandkids, like they would probably really love to come and they would love to be here. I think what's neat about Kyle and his initiative is they really are trying to help people game in Jesus' name, which is a great missional principle. Is it's not like we do our Jesus thing in absentia of the rest of life, but we have to ask ourselves, like, how do we don't want to game as the world does, but how do we game in the name of Christ? How do we have marriage in the name of Christ and not as the world does? And I think this is just yet another category of where we can begin to form and shape what a Christian perspective of the video game industry and the participation in it might be. And so I think it's worth a try. I think for those, a general principle, if you're leery about something, it might be worth tuning in and checking it out before we make our ultimate verdict on something. Keep our discernment on. Take every thought captive, make it obedient to Christ. When Paul was saying that in 2 Corinthians 10, he wasn't talking about the thoughts in Matt and Joe's mind. He was talking about the thoughts that were pervasive in culture. And Paul, as the first Christian theologian, he wasn't content with just saying, we're just going to keep the old standard Jewish lines on all things, like meat sacrificed to idols in the market and stuff like that. But he's saying, like, the resurrection really does kind of reshape everything. At the same time, this is maybe more of a theological weeds, but the resurrection was in the Jewish mind, late Old Testament period, was when the resurrection happened, it was the new world was dawning. And God was going to raise all the faithful dead all at the same time. Okay, that was like what they were expecting. So when only Jesus is raised, it threw into confusion that rendering. Now it's like the new age and the old age are overlapping. And so what Christians have done from the very beginning is, what can we reclaim as something that's going to belong in God's new age? And what should we renounce that no longer belongs because of what Jesus has done? I think that we could do the same thing in the video game world. There is something, I think, that's getting to the heartbeat of life within it, because it's drawing and attracting all sorts of people, not just young people. I mean, there's people of all ages getting involved with this. I mean, just watch your grandparents or your parents, people who are retired, like they are on their phones all the time, and they're not scrolling Facebook. They're probably playing some game to occupy some time, right? So there's something that's drawing us to it. So what can we reclaim as something good about it, common good? And then what should we renounce if there's anything to renounce there? And so that's a longer conversation, but I think that's maybe a way to frame anything, not just the video game experience of the average person.
I think that kind of gets to what Iger's quote was, like, everyone is here. So he's noticing there's a giant pool of our population is on these platforms. So it's a wise business decision for Disney to be there too, right? And I saw that I think Lego has recently had a similar deal with the Fortnite group. So they're just noticing this is where people are. We should be there. And so I think that was Kyle's initiative here, was that's where people are. That's where they're going. So the church should be there too. And kind of similarly to how we live just our lives, hopefully we can stand out as a different kind of gamer, different kind of person that handles life differently. And hopefully, what's the always be ready to give a reason for the hope you have? What's the Paul quote there?
Well, it's 1 Peter.
Peter. Okay.
Always be prepared to give a reason for the hope we have, right? And do it with gentleness and respect, right? I just think that, so there, and this dividing line has been in the church from the very beginning. The church has been a very big tent. So like one like Clement of Alexandria, he's like, no, like everything that's good and true belongs to the Christian. Like that's our inheritance. But then you got Tertullian, who says, what does Athens have to do with Jerusalem? He's saying, no, there is a definitive difference between us and the world. So there's always been this tug of war, even in the Christian mind, of what we should avoid and what we should give a chance to. And I think what the video game industry is a chance, give it a chance to see if we can't create a space where we might be able to bear witness to Christ to all the nations. And that word nations in the Great Commission is not nation states.
Yeah.
But it's ethne, peoples.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, there's a lot of peoples
Yeah.
in the video game world, and we have access to them if we choose to participate as genuinely as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's kind of funny because on one hand, this is very new. On the one hand, it's very old.
Yeah.
Like, because we also have a gym where the whole reason why we have a gym is a very similar reason why we have the game center, right? Mm-hmm. Just to try to get people to come to church, have a non-threatening introduction to who we are. And then, like, I remember when I was in middle school, we had game nights. They weren't video game nights, but they were game nights, you know? And when I was in high school, my friends and I would play video games. My youth group buddies, we'd play Xbox. We just didn't do it here because it wasn't an option yet. Yeah. So it's funny because it's new, but it's not new.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's a good point.
So, yeah. Okay. Any closing thoughts on video games?
No, but I'm telling you, when I walk into my kids playing and they're having the greatest of times, it just brings joy to a dad's heart. They're connecting with friends. They're having a lot of laughter and delight. And because of that, I think it's worth a chance.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see where it goes for Disney. We'll see what the Disney metaverse on Fortnite ends up looking like. And hanging out with Spider-Man and C-3PO or whoever. So.
You know, one of our favorite characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Morris, that weird pet.
Yes.
That shows up in what movie does that show up in? In the 10 Rings.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's in other ones, but like you see like his family in that one.
Yes.
Like, that's my favorite character in all of Marvel.
He's great. I like him, and I like Korg from the Thor and all the other ones. So those weird random guys that just pop up every once in a while. Yeah, man. So. All right. Well, with that, we can wrap it up. Any other closing Super Bowl thoughts? Go Chiefs. Any final predictions or Super Bowl?
I think Chiefs by 6.
Chiefs by 6.
Yeah, I think it'll be within a touchdown for sure. Yeah.
I'll say Chiefs by 12.
All right.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Sounds good, man.
All right. Have a good week, everybody. See you next time.
See you next time.